peers and people who would look up to me, and it kind of got to the point where they just expected all these grand things, and it's a lot of work. It was a lot of pressure. And so I just kind of said, 3 weight cuts in less than a year. I'm going to give my body a break. I'm going to focus on my weaknesses. I'm going to dip into some other sports, kind of experiment a little bit, just kind of see where I'm at. I learned a ton about myself. Yep. I learned a ton about how to get strong. Yeah. And I'm a lot stronger now. I'm a lot stronger now than I was in 2018 at the Arnold Classic. So,
right. And since you're less, when you make that conscious decision to not compete for a year, you become less attached to whatever it was that got you there in the first place. Like, I have to follow this routine because this is the routine that got me there last year, and I'm going to do that this year. And you're less willing to experiment. Right. You know what I mean? Whereas you take the year off, you're like, oh, this looks fun. Let's try this out. And it works. And you're like, oh man, now I can include this for next year's routine, as opposed to just being so focused on doing it the way you always have, because it did work. The way you've always done it, it did work, but maybe you never would have gotten past certain plateaus because you were always doing that.
So it's been great for me.
Yeah. I think that's good. I think that's the harder decision to make.
Yeah,
is
it was
take
hard.
To take a year off. That's a hard decision to make.
Extremely hard for me to step back from the one thing that I loved most about my career. I mean, competing. Yeah. I mean, and to sit back and watch all those athletes that I had competed with compete. Sitting and watching the national championship stream. I mean, it was heartbreaking to not be there. It was heartbreaking. Isn't
it strange though how usually the hard decisions are the right ones?
Yeah. So I mean, I can only imagine how I'm going to feel watching the Arnold Classic this year. It's going to be tough. You know, it'll be bittersweet, but it's also going to build a drive that I think is just going to be unstoppable. So, you know.
What is the pro card and like Team USA like? So you get on the Team USA at the national level, like
you're awarded that at national level,
and then you get the pro card at the world level.
Correct.
And what comes with a pro card?
So once you're a pro, you're basically a professional strongman athlete. So pro cards are very, very new to women in this sport. They just were awarded for the first time, I think, maybe a year and a half ago.
Whoa.
So, yeah. I mean, new. Like,
whoa. I was not expecting you to say that.
Yeah, like they weren't awarded when I started. This was something that just happened kind of in the middle of my career in the sport.
Whoa.
So the growth in the professional strong women is right now it is happening. I mean, it's like a sponge.
So you could be one of the first ones in then. You
I
really
mean,
could.
Yeah, I could.
There can't be that many of them walking around right now.
No, there's not. And there's a lot of still development with it, whether or not there's going to be weight classes. When you watch World's Strongest Man on TV with those big guys, it's just there is no weight class. They're just as big as they can be, as strong as they can be, and they're competing. With women, you can't really approach it that way. Mm-hmm. You have to do it a little differently. So they're developing weight classes for it. They have pro lightweights, they have pro middleweights. You can own multiple pro cards. They do have weigh-ins still. So it's still developing, and I think that over time it'll be an awesome opportunity for women in the sport, and it'll build interest in the sport. But as a professional athlete, you get invited to like Platinum Plus shows that have payouts. So if you win, you might get $10,000.
It's pretty good sums then of money.
Yeah, like whatever. I don't know what the payouts would be. It just depends. Or
do you get a payout from just getting the card by chance? Like, is there like you get some prize money? Like, hey, you got your pro card. Here's $1,000 or anything.
I don't know. That's something that I'm not aware of. Again, I've only seen 2 or 3 pro cards be handed out in a competition that I've been at because it's so new. So, but with professional status comes like Rogue Fitness may sponsor you, or you might get.
Sounds like it's a platform for opportunity, basically.
It
like
is.
You don't really have like an official. Like you get your pro card, this happens. It sounds like it's kind of just like you have your pro card. These things could happen.
Right. I mean, you're expected to compete at certain professional shows X amount per year to keep it active. Like there's things that you have to do to help promote the sport and to keep it going. So, it's kind of like professional football. Mm-hmm. If you're a pro football player, you've got expectations. You got to compete. You got to play in the games, and you've got to do your, It's kind of it's a job. So, but But again, it's really new, so it's exciting to kind of watch the growth of it and to see the first women to achieve that.
Oh, absolutely.
Is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So,
and you might be one of the next ones,
yeah,
you know,
I could,
2020.
I could.
So I could chat with you all day, Nikita, but let's kind of wrap it up with what's something you want to leave to, your fellow athletes, whether, particularly to women. Like, what's something you have to say towards fellow women athletes who are in the fitness community?
Yeah, I mean, if you're an athlete and you're wanting to compete, especially in a male-dominant sport, seek out the opportunity to just excel in that with your strengths. Like, you don't, just because I'm in a male-dominant sport doesn't mean that I can't do it, or I'm not good enough to do it. I hate that. Or if something's scary, even that, it can be fearful jumping into something that's unknown or you've never done before, whether that's strongman, powerlifting, CrossFit, and that fear of failure. What really, I always ask myself, like, how does Nikita define failure? Because I can define it however I want. So maybe I redefine it. Maybe I redefine it in a way that it doesn't really exist in what I'm doing. And so if a female athlete is strong, or she doesn't really find positivity in competing in aesthetic sports or sports like gymnastics or whatever, but they want to do some kind of lifting or powerlifting or anything like that, I mean, yeah, it's going to be scary. It's going to be hard. You're going to be kind of looked at as kind of an outsider. You will, and you're going to get a lot of pressure, but it's kind of, are you going to let it stick, or are you going to just internalize it and spin it to the positive? So really having the right mindset and the approach that I'm doing this for me, and it doesn't really matter about anybody else. Yeah. Whether I'm the best or I'm the worst, I'm doing it for myself. And if I'm growing personally, then who cares? Yep. Who cares? Who cares if I win? Who cares if I lose? One, did I have fun? Did I grow? Did I learn something? Did I walk away and feel a sense of accomplishment, that I can carry on in my everyday life as a person and grow as a person and be more disciplined or healthier, Right. So, I mean, I'm all about longevity. So I want to be definitely working out until the day that I die. I mean, it's just part of my lifestyle, that I find positivity in it, and it helps me become, just helps me function better. I mean, I choose to eat certain things and healthy and certain ways because I feel better physically, which if I feel physically better, then mentally I feel better. So, I mean, they work hand in hand. If you're mentally healthy, it's easy to be physically healthy. And I think that, women just need to realize that, like, you need to be happy with yourself and stop worrying about how other people perceive you. So, they can say what they want to say, and I think too, once a woman becomes strong, there's a sense of feminine that follows that, and they feel like they can redefine that, and that they feel beautiful or good about themselves or attractive because they've become strong. And I think that's awesome.
I think that's a great way to close it up. Yeah. Where can people find you, Nikita?
I'm on Instagram. Okay. So it's at nikita.liebl, Liebl. That's my IG handle. And I'm on Facebook too. You can also just send me a message on Instagram if you'd rather just chat, about competing, or if you have any questions about strongman, you're more than welcome to reach out. I'll be happy to answer any of those questions. And if you're interested in my training and how I train and my methodology, Militia Fitness is also on Instagram, and they have a great team that can answer all of your questions. So reaching out to them, starting their programs, any of that, they'll take care of you.
Awesome. Yeah. All right. Thanks so much for being on the show, Nikita.
No problem.